once more we have some adventuring to do, and at least this time it's going to be more eventful than usual. After all, we've got some story progress to make in this clip. Oh dear. I kind of want to know how serious that injury is, but I'm sure the game isn't going to actually give a damn about it. Him hurting his back is just an excuse for him not to do anything to contribute to the situation in here. Because, of course, the player has to get things done. Well, at least business is picking up for us for a little bit. So I suppose that makes up for the iffy storytelling decision there. If all it took to get you to leave that defensive position was yelling at you, why couldn't the player character do that? Hell, why couldn't we just fight you up there in the first place? Skip a few steps and get the knocking Team Rocket out of town thing a little earlier than this. Not really expecting any trouble as we cleared Team Rocket from the caves. I'm also not expecting much trouble from the second gym, since I distinctly remember it being a bug gym. Still, even if we're not likely to be challenged in a fight, there's something nice about knowing you're actually making story progress in a game this damn long. It's like coming to an oasis. Somehow expected to see more experience build up from that, considering the amount of damage we took. And there's no way I'm sending Flender against another Rattata without getting some healing first. For some reason I thought that bite would have more, well, bite compared to Poison Sting. Also wasn't expecting to take a critical hit here. Am I not giving this grunt enough credit? Or is my run of luck a bit poor at the start of this clip? On one hand, it's nice that we took him down via poison. On the other hand, that was far too close considering we had a good level advantage over the guy. Kinda surprised that Team Rocket never came back after the first two generations, even as they stayed relatively relevant in the anime for every season as far as I know. It is just such an easy way to make a bad guy group. Just have them be a bunch of money-grubbing bastards who care more about their paycheck than anything else. Granted, I will like when we finally get to the eco-terrorists when we get to Generation 3, but it feels like quite a number of the generations after that tried to copy off of Generation 3's villain groups to varying degrees, and it got tiring. And when they were done with that era of villain groups, they started trying to make the groups as purposely pathetic as possible. We're definitely defeating you left and right. Maybe not at the fast pace we probably should, but still. It's not like any of the people we beat heal if we take too long to get to the rest. There's no urgency at all. But then that's kind of an issue with a lot of role-player games, regardless of the style of storytelling and gameplay. It's not like there were too many moments in Mass Effect where I felt especially encouraged to get things done in any kind of hurry, unless there's an explicit timer. And it's a lot easier to give us a sense of urgency in a live-action game like that, compared to a turn-based game like this. As a side note, bit of a funny thing to see a critical hit that only causes 1 HP of damage to us. Pretty pathetic, really, and it's just a little sad, considering it's another Zubat that was failing to do anything to Flender here. It's always a bit awkward that some people consider the sorts of Pokemon that the Rocket Grunts use as pretty pathetic in general. But honestly, I do kind of like them to varying degrees. Rattata is a damn solid start to the game and mid-game choice, though I'm iffy about taking one all the way to the championship. I don't think I'll ever have Ekans or its later evolutions on my team, but I do like seeing the snakes. Maybe if Rattata had a third form, I might want him for longer. Zubat, I kind of liked all the way back in the first generation, but he didn't have enough going for it until Crobat became a thing. Then Zubat and its line became a line that I have had a hard time not having on a team after generation after frickin' generation. Anyway, I've got to say, how is taking Slowpoke tails supposed to be especially heinous if they grow back? Sure, it's not especially humane to sever an organ from a sentient being, even if it takes a few minutes for said creature to feel the pain of it, but I'm sure there are ways to do so that limits the pain the poor creature goes through when it finally kicks in. But really, as far as I can tell, the only major crimes they're pulling are going after this Pokemon Preserve without any kind of authorization, and selling the results of it at exorbitant prices. If anything, I have more of an issue for how they're doing things here than what they're actually doing, which, much like back in Bellsprout Tower, kinda makes me feel like I'm a bit of an ass, not the empathetic trainer that the game story wants Chris to come across as. Had to take a moment to consider if I wanted to give Flender some more experience now, or if I wanted someone else to get involved here. It's not like Vincent is capable of hitting all the possible Pokemon we could come across out here. Poison type and Psychic type, yes. Normal type? Not yet. And it's not like we've got any way to see if the rocket we're fighting is going to send a Rattata as their first one. Yeah, Leech Life is just a bad move altogether, even when it's hitting for neutral, much less not very effective. That's 6 for Vincent. I probably should have praised him for becoming an ace in the previous fight there. That said, I'm pretty sure Vincent is done in this clip. The rest of the team needs a chance to level up after all. Is it a bad thing that I'm sending Flender to attack another Zubat? To be fair, until those other Zubat learn how to bite, they aren't going to be a threat to us, but still. On the one hand, annoying that we're just that small bit away from leveling up with Flender here. On the other hand, Flender is now in the lead, with 17 wins under his belt. I'm sure it's even tougher for you, because occasionally some self-righteous kid kicks your ass. Anyway, think I'll pull back a bit to heal. Again, it's not like these guys are gonna run away or do anything more terrible than whatever it was they were doing when we first arrived. We can just take our time dismantling what's left of them. Don't worry, you're going to keep seeing us a number of times before we're done with this town. Huh. Probably shouldn't feel so surprised that we ran into a random encounter in these caves. Though I hope it's understandable that I'm at least a little caught off guard, since we didn't see any random encounters down here while dealing with the other rockets so far. Okay, was kind of expecting Flender to level up while fighting against a rocket. I'm pretty sure we're down to the last one down here, after all. Yeah, that's the last one. I certainly doubt we're gonna be back to the Slowpoke, well, when I finally get the Strength gem, so everything past that pushable rock is gonna remain unknown to me. We've got more than enough other places to explore at this point, after all. Huh. So he's level 14 as well. That's a bit of a leap from the other rockets down here, that's for sure. Definitely not doing as much damage with Bite as I was hoping. Still, he's not doing all that much to us in return just yet, so unless he has something like Explosion, we're good. And I severely doubt they're gonna have anything like Explosion in their bag of tricks anytime soon. Should have just gone for Bite again. Trying to get cheeky with Leech Life just cost us. Damn, that was a stupid mistake on my part, considering Flender had that one. Ah well, that gives one of the others a chance to finish the job and add to their own score. We're not absolutely screwed, just a little embarrassed here. Well, that put Uzumaki at 9, but that's a pretty distant third place there. And again, we win due to the sheer number of higher level Pokemon on our team, not because I'm any kind of tactical genius around here. I'm pretty sure all your activities are underground anyway. It's not a surprise that you guys are active again after Giovanni got his ass kicked in the first generation. The only real question is who's in charge now. And look at that, Kurt managed to heal just in time for him to see the rockets driven away because of the actions of the player character, not contributing to the actual fight for his hometown, outside of being a glorified key to let us enter the well area in the first place. Ugh. I probably shouldn't be so harsh on a game this old, but still, you'd think that the people around here would at least put up more of a token effort to protect their own home. Yeah, we've got some from the very tree that's right in your backyard. This is certainly a unique way for us to gain some Pokeballs for free, but the fact that we have to wait a day for his results kinda nullifies how useful that feels compared to just buying regular balls. And it's not like the various Apricorns have anything that tells us what variety of specialized ball he's gonna make with them. You just have to remember on your own what each color will become when he's done. We're only gonna see it again in the remake of Generation 2. Again, this is gonna just stay as a Gen 2 gimmick, like with the phone. I suppose I do like how Pokemon Legends Arceus does something kinda similar, where you make your own balls out in the field. Hell, that was one of the things I liked about that game. It felt like they were taking some of those kinds of interesting ideas from earlier games and expanding on them to make a more fun experience overall. Really? Look, I wasn't expecting much for our act of heroism, but I hope I seem justified being annoyed that only Kurt and some random old man seemed to acknowledge that there was a problem at all. And the old man doesn't even know that there was a criminal problem out here, despite Team Rocket doing nothing to conceal what they were doing. He just thinks the Slowpokes came out on their own. Yeah, they may as well have started a concert down here. Anyway, currently hunting for a Slowpoke to put onto our team. I'm actually mentally debating with myself if I should have the Slowpoke on our team for the entire game. After all, there are 2 major story locations in the game where you can get a damn good water Pokemon that you can bring with you all the way. The Slowpoke well here, and the Lake of Rage later on. If I decide to get an Espeon on our team, then the water type will be Gyarados, just like it was in the first generation. And whichever one of the 2 I don't have for this game's run, I will use for the Soul Silver run. Bit of a shame that Poliwag and its following evolutions aren't really on my radar for our final team. Uzumaki is really putting in some good work for us. Still, a water fighting type just doesn't feel right for the kind of team I've vaguely got in mind in my head right now. And besides, he would probably turn into an HM slave with strength, surf, and whatever other water-based moves they're gonna give us in this game. Hell, I can't really think of any situation where you would really want a water-fighting Pokemon, since both are super effective against rock. Maybe fighting is good against steel as well, but I don't remember. It just feels like you're in worse shape than you'd be with water psychic or water flying. A Gyarados completely ignores ground attacks, is super effective against one of the 2 types it's explicitly weak against, and really, its only drawback is the obscene double weakness to electric. And while Psychic type is no longer the king it used to be in the first generation, now that we've got Steel and Dark to worry about, it's still a damn good type to have. And I always try to have one on my team. Seriously, I absolutely always want a Fire, Grass, Water, and Psychic on my team in any given generation. I don't think I've ever had a Dragon on my team in any of the playthroughs I've done over the years. They tend to come way too late in the game for my tastes. Steel and Rock are kind of interchangeable for me since they're physically resistant types, and I've got nothing against Ground or Electric, but they never really drew me in that well. I absolutely like the look of Poison types, but unless there's another typing in there somewhere, I can't really justify having one on my team for that long. There are very few Bug types I'd like to bring with me all the way to the end. They tend to peak pretty damn early compared to a lot of other Pokemon, and those few are so rare, like Scyther and Heracross, that it's not always worth it to search for them for that long. And the early ones like Weedle and Caterpie get their full form at level 10. They're great for the early game, assuming the first gym isn't a damn bear gym like this one. But by Gym 3 onwards, the only reason you might want one on your team is because you're enough of a fan of them that you don't give a damn that they're gonna start lagging behind everyone else. Yeah. Lurker can possibly get away with being on the team for longer, since he doesn't evolve until much later than 10, but maybe that just means he's gonna feel underpowered for a good amount of time, despite his high score. We'll see, we'll see. Definitely appreciate that Lurker didn't hurt herself at any point. As a side note, I keep wanting to call my Pokemon Hims, and I have to check the little gender symbol to make sure every time. On the one hand, considering just how long Lurker has been on our team, I should damn well know she's a she and not a he. On the other hand, it takes more than just a sheer amount of time on our team for me to feel any kind of deep connection. And of course, apparently a Slowpoke is showing up. When I deploy a Pokemon that could take him down in a single hit, that's going to make it a bit awkward to capture him. Little iffy luck there. I would have thought that Slowpokes would be more common in the Slowpoke well, but then it's not like there are all that many wild Bellsprouts we could find in the Bellsprout Tower either. Should I ask why that slowpoke hasn't been just pounding us over and over again with actual attack moves? Sure, it's making it easier to capture the bastard, but still. Well, that seems like enough wearing down for us to be comfortable throwing a Pokeball at him. And there we go. We've got ourselves a Slowpoke. Again, I'm still debating with myself if I want my Crystal team to have a Slowbro or Gyarados at the end. Well, since he's a bit of a derpy powerhouse, let's call him Caboose. Guess we're gonna be spending a good amount of time training Caboose to level 14 or maybe 13 then. Part of me really wants to feel guilty about that. Poliwag's not a bad Pokemon by any means, and Uzumaki is currently in 3rd place with 9 wins. Sure, that's a good distance away from 2nd place, which has 16 wins, but that's still one more win than our frickin' starter. And now a long period of padding is to begin. Guess it's gonna take quite a while for us to get to the 2nd gym, even though it's in this same damn town. Now, well, it's not like we're in any real hurry. We can complete our journey at our own leisure. Nobody is depending on us. There's no overarching threat of any kind. This is literally just a kid told to explore their own region and grow along the way. It's honestly one of the bigger draws in the Pokemon franchise for me. We aren't at war, and there aren't any major issues, at least in the first 2 generations. The stakes will start to increase when we get to the 3rd generation, but at the pace I'm working on this game, the length that Soul Silver is probably going to be, and the likelihood of me just not being in the mood to do Pokemon for a while after completing each of the 2, it's probably going to take me years to get to the 3rd generation. Anyway, bit embarrassing that I forgot to put Caboose on the front line, considering we're specifically trying to grind him up to par here. Wait, a Geodude? Well, I suppose I could use a physical tank. Gonna be a bit awkward to have a Marbleback on my main team for this generation, since I had one for my main team in the 1st generation. It's even more awkward that we're fighting a rock type just as I got rid of the one water type we had that has an actual set of water moves. Granted, I want to capture this guy, not take him down, but still. Yeah, probably better for Vincent to wear him down since Lick doesn't do much damage and her tackles are gonna just phase through us. Well, that was close and would have easily become very embarrassing for me. Anyway, welcome to the team, Marbleback. Your predecessor in Generation 1 got 141 wins by the end of that playthrough. We'll see how many you manage to gain in this generation, assuming, of course, that I don't replace you as a team tank and strength-focused Pokemon. And yes, I am not creative enough to call a Geodude something different in a different generation. Every time I grab a Geodude, I will name the Marbleback. Every time I grab a Magikarp, it will be named Takanabori. Every Rattata will be Nim. There are so many names that I just will repeat over and over again. Another reason why I'm hoping to avoid having too many repeat teammates on later generation teams. Because seeing shared names on the different teams is going to feel awkward. At least when it comes to looking at the footage. Anyway, that should do it for this clip. Just need to heal, save, and call it a day.